Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Today we got a very interesting piece of news. And I'm so glad I have this one because this proves again that patience is still a virtue. That is, wait. Wait and the truth will come out and will eventually cover the lie and push it to the side and hang it. So many times in my videos I claimed that in Eastern and European history, or at least the relations among countries, including the Western countries, there's really a national conscience, to put it this way, based on historical events. And based on that, countries, people do not like one another. Some of them really hate one another. Why? Because they have so many historical events that occur between the countries. Your ancestor butchered my ancestors butchered yours. My territories, you have them now. Your territory, he has them now. So it's always a territorial, demand from one country to another. They all have territorial demands to one another. It's just a smokescreen if you think that, for instance, Germany and France are okay with Lorraine and all such, or the Poland and Germany are okay with Danzig or the Danzig corridor, or if Romania is okay with Ukraine's Bessarabia and Bukovina, or the Russia is okay with Crimea and so on. No, they're not, and they will never be. Why? Because of historical events. Now, Romanians, I told you, they have problems with everybody. Maybe with the Serbs less, because they have territorial demands, and everybody has with them, with Romania. Like Hungary has with Romania, Romania has with Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't have with Romania because Ukraine has Romanian territory. Romania doesn't have with Hungary because even though Romania can claim further to Tisa anyway, and then with Yugoslavia we have the Banat, Serbian Serbian Banat. With Bulgaria we have the Kradilater. So we all have with all. Now in this case we have the former Romanian education minister who spills the same beans I was spilling here regarding Ukraine and Romania territorial disputes. So the new voice of Ukraine, September 18th today, former Romanian education minister. So he's an education minister, okay? Used to be. Draws ire of Romanian and Ukrainian officials, of course, because they are backed by the same sponsor, which is the United States of America. So they have to say the party line. I'm telling you, this is the history we learned, and it's not only we learned, that's evidence what these guys are saying, or the Russians are saying regarding Crimea and all that. I told you what Ukraina means, Ukraina. The territory at the edge, on the side, something at the side. You know what I mean? Like, how should I put it? This phone is at the side of my hand. Or my hand, this finger is at the side of my hand. It's at the end of the side. That's what Ukraina means. Anyway, let's read this article. And I'm quoting: the Ministry of Foreign Affairs considers that the statements made by Mr. Andrei Marga in the public space regarding Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine and its effects are unacceptable. The message say. They have to say it because the Americans said, what the hell are you doing? So these statements are in flagrant contradiction with Romania's official position. Well, Romania's politicians' official position doesn't represent the people's position, but you see how it is, a discontent between us and what they are, and our history versus their history. With Romanian officials towards the illegal, unjustified and unprovoked aggression of Russia against Ukraine, as well as with the fundamental principles of international law and the current government international relations. Now, it is not about that. Now, this is what Marga, the former education minister, said. on September 17 that Ukraine's borders are unusual and it must give territories to Russia, Hungary, Poland and Romania, echoing Russia propaganda narratives. No, that's historical facts that this guy is saying. If you ask the Hungarians and the Poles and the Russians, they say the same thing. They're unnatural. They are given from others. So the politicians, for political reasons, ignore that and they say it's echo Russia. No, it's historical events, facts. Bukovina was taken from Romania by Stalin, by Soviet Union, before the Second World War. What are you talking about? I mean, it was right there. He said, that's an ultimatum. You give it to us or we invade you, like we invaded Poland or something. It was right there at the beginning. And Romania, the weasels from Bucharest, instead of doing what the Serbs did with the Germans, saying, come, or like the Spartans told the Iranians, the Iranians, you know what I mean, right? He said, come and get them. Come in, instead of saying that, they say, okay, here they are. All right? So, and the same things if you ask the Hungarian people, not the politicians, they do what they need to do. And then you have, you have here, obviously, Ukrainian presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak said that the former minister should realize his responsibility in undermining the Persians. Iranians, they like to be called Persians, they're Persians, but whatever. Said the former minister should realize his responsibility in undermining Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Yeah, and he also does what these people do best. Instead of bringing argumentation, he says Russia is desperate to use each and every remaining foreign asset it has, no matter how ancient, Podolyak said in a Twitter post. So, Mr. Marga should realize he faces criminal responsibility for his statement for infringing on the integrity or sovereignty of another country. What? How do you mean he faces criminal responsibility? It's like freedom of speech? So you can't say, actually, if I'm in Romania and say, actually, Ukraine is a made-up country, am I facing criminal whatever penalties? Why is that? It's a fact. What do you mean? You know what I mean? It's Ukraine, the country, never had the territories that now has from Romania. They were taken. And then you remember who gave Crimea to Ukraine? Within the Soviet Union? Nikita Khrushchev. He took it from the Russian Socialist Soviet Republic, took it or whatever and gave it to the Ukraine Soviet Socialist Republic. That's how Crimea came to Ukraine. What is this going on? Since when Crimea was Ukrainian? Since what, 64, 62, 65, in the 60s? Since then. And before that was whose? So yes, this is a Romanian guy who tells people the history and they want to probably charge him criminally. The other guy tells him that he's a Russian asset. Like here you say, well, you make some claims based on science and historical and whatever you want to say it. And they call you this, they call you that, they call you this, they call you that, trying to shut you up, to get you to hide. And the Romanians are, no, we didn't say that. We all know. I mean, history is history. You don't like it? Too bad. But that's why I was waiting. I was waiting for a guy like this to say, what are you talking about Ukraine? Ukraine has Romanian territories and has Hungarian territories, has Russian territories, has Polish territories. So when the Russians saying Poland is waiting to get its Ukrainian western territories, it's not a dream, it's not a propaganda. They're waiting. They never forgot, like the Hungarians, they never forgot and they will never forget part of Transylvania from Romania. We're friends or whatever, but the first opportunity, they will take it. And the same here, the first opportunity, maybe the weasel Romanians will take it if the Americans allow them. So the same with the Poles, the same with everybody over there. It's just, look at Kosovo. Look at Kosovo. Look at that if you want. Look what happened to Serbia. All right? The opportunity, pack, taken. And what's going to be next? Kosovo is Albanians. Albania is a country bordering Kosovo. What do you think will happen in the future? Duh. We're going to remain like Austria and Germany? Possibly. But there's Germans. You know what I mean? The same thing. Oh no, we Österreich. What Österreich means? The Easter Reich. What's the Reich? Anyway, so I'm so glad this guy got the balls to say the truth. And I don't want to say that I'm vindicated, but you sometimes say things and people say, oh, I never heard this before. Must be stupid. Oh, well, that's another stupid together with me. We hold hands and go walking. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.